I got a new package here in the shop. It is the larger Harbor Freight metal cutting bandsaw. I'm going to mostly use this machine as a horizontal bandsaw. It comes with the option of running a vertical one, but I already have a big quality metal cutting bandsaw that does vertical work. So I have the little red one, but it tipped over and unfortunately it broke a couple things. I'll show you that later here in the video. But I decided that it was time for a big upgrade. I wanted the ability to run coolant and have a hydraulic, basically down feed. And yeah, so I ended up getting this thing with a 15% off coupon, and I'm going to do a little unboxing for you. So here's the little red bandsaw that they sell at Harbor Freight. It's been quite a good machine for me. For the price, it has gotten me basically lots and lots of work done. It's made lots of good straight cuts, and I've been able to just take the cuts off of this and weld them together, basically square, no problem, no grinding, no adjustments. So you can see here, it tipped over and fell and busted the motor mount and busted the little housing for, I guess, I don't know if that's a capacitor or what that is, but basically suffered some damage. The rest of the saw is pretty good shape. I might fix it and put it on Marketplace or something, but it's done me a lot of good cutting. I've basically done its max capacity, and it's time for a bigger saw anyway. So that little spill made me decide that it was time to upgrade. Also, excuse my shop mess, but got a lot of tools and a lot of new tools, and still going through organizing. I have an Enco vertical bandsaw, which is an amazing machine, and it's great for cutting, chunks out and doing trimming and doing lots of odds and ends stuff. But as far as like cutting box tube length and different things like flat bar and everything, there's no machine like having a horizontal bandsaw. So let's get this box open. Well, that's kind of a disappointment. I looked in the box yesterday because, as you can see, it's a little damaged, but yeah, one of the plastic knobs seems to be broken off. Other than that, though, I don't see anything that's wrong with it. I might try to contact Harbor Freight to see if they would give me a warranty, because there's no point in sending the whole thing back if, this thing's in good shape otherwise. I could make a handle for it, but, it's kind of the principle about buying something new. Oh, well, just noticed that. Oh, I guess she's going back. Yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Oh, good thing I didn't rip up the box. Well, after some after-dinner consideration, decided it's definitely going back. That dent is pretty bad, and the knob isn't a huge deal, but it's just the premise of it's a brand new thing. After a coupon, I spent about $1,200 on it. So, for $1,200, I think I should have a little better quality than that. So, well, I guess I never thought I'd be making a boxing video. I was going to try to make an unboxing video, but, well, it's going back to Harbor Freight. So, enjoy me boxing this thing. Alright, well, the bandsaw's packaged back up. It's going back to Harbor Freight tomorrow. Hoping to get a new one. Return this one, of course. And I guess we'll do it all over again. I think it's going to be an unboxing in the Harbor Freight parking lot, so I doubt you're going to see that. But hopefully that goes well, and I'll show you what I get. Here is the new one. It is the same exact model as the one you just saw earlier in this video, and I'll tell you, it is in a lot better shape. As I said in the last clip, I did actually unbox this thing in the parking lot of Harbor Freight, and You know, I made sure there was no damage, nothing like that. After doing a little bit of thinking, that bandsaw may have been sent back already once. It had that big hole in the box, and like I said, I looked in there, made sure there wasn't any damage, but I couldn't see that with the plastic bag on. So, just a buyer beware. I would definitely take a look at this thing before you take it home. I would bring a couple tools. I think it's just a 12 and a 14 millimeter bolt down there. There's 4 of them, and you can pull this package off. I'm not going to bother doing an unboxing of this thing because you already saw that already. And I'm going to pull it apart, and then I'm going to have a better in-depth look. Here it is out of the box. Luckily, that knob is intact. And that motor looks really good. So, I guess the biggest thing is it'll turn on and operate. But you can see, good shape. And it's got some of the stuff here in a coolant tank that I'm going to need to assemble. And I'll show you guys the first cut. I am not sure how this thing will track and cut, but I mean, my red bandsaw cut square right out of the package. People told me that the bands were kind of bad for this thing. The saw blades, I should say, were kind of bad out of the box. So before I even got this one, I ended up ordering myself a Machinist brand saw blade, basically, and they're on Amazon. I've heard good reviews about them for this saw, and they didn't break the bank, around like 25 bucks. So yeah, I'll get this thing set up and make a couple cuts and show you guys how it does. Just so people watching this video might be, you know, looking into this and doing a purchase of this themselves, inside of here is the coolant tank on the back side of the machine, and it comes with a bag full of stuff. So it comes with, looks like, some extra parts and pieces and the stand and the caster. So I'll put them on, and then, like I said before, I'll do a test and see how it does. As you can see by that little time lapse, I just put the wheels on, took it off of the crate, and it looks pretty good. I did a little test and look over of this thing. I checked the gearbox, which is right here. Put a little zip tie in it to check the oil. There's plenty of oil in there. Inside of the belt guard housing, it is on the lowest speed. And then it looks like the tension is pretty good on the blade. So I turned it on and it sounds really good. So I'll show you that. It's nice and quiet. I think the only thing really making noise is this brush down here, which cleans the chips off the blade. I also went and looked at the hydraulic, pneumatic, I don't know, I think it's a hydraulic cylinder, and it works really good. So this is your main on-off dump valve. You can see it goes down. And then there's a little knob on the end of there, if you can see that. And it allows you to increase and decrease how fast it goes up and down. So as you can see, works pretty good. It seems like a really good machine. I want to give it some test cuts. It being so cold outside, I don't have any coolant, but I am going to use a little bit of cutting oil and make first tests, I guess, on some box tube and maybe some flat bar. So I'll set you up and I'll show you that. First thing I'm going to be cutting is this little piece of aluminum, just a little piece of flat bar stock. Hopefully it's long enough. So it could be adjusted a little bit more to be shut off. But as of right now, for making these tests, that is good enough for me. So now I'm going to take this little piece of box tube, 2-inch box tube, and I want to see, actually, this end doesn't have any burrs. So I'm going to see how this thing cuts. This is just a drop that I had laying around. So I want to see how it does. Use a little bit of the CRC cutting oil just to give it this blade a fighting chance. I want to see how a lot of YouTubers complain about these blades, and I know my blade on my red one was terrible, so I want to see how long this OG blade will last. I'm just trying to get the down feed correct on this. Cool. So the next thing I want to test is I want to get a little piece of like square stock or something so I can measure how square the cuts are on this. I could do that in the box tube, but it doesn't really give you the best idea of how square it really is. So I'll be back with that. I found a little piece of basically rectangular stock, and it doesn't really matter. I was just gonna cut one of these ends off to see. Looks like I did actually square up this end at some point, or somebody did. So I'll cut that off to see how it looks compared to the other edges. Hopefully we can get a good reading. This piece isn't too short. That should do. one thing I love about bandsaws is I don't recommend you to do so, but if you want to pull stuff right off the bandsaw, you can just put it right in your hand, and it's just cool to the touch. Or I should say, it won't burn your hand. So I'm going to deburr this part, and I will show you how square it is. I ended up going and deburring those holes because for some reason they had burrs on them. Guess I don't remember making this part, so probably something I've had just laying around. But taking this machinist square, I mean, be honest, I can't really ask for more than that. I can't really even see light through it, and that's just a bandsaw cut. So I'll show you the other way. These are just some welding machinist squares I've had around for my fixture table, so they got a little bit of corrosion on them, but you know, it'll still show you how nice this thing cuts, because can't really ask for better than that squareness for welding parts together. So yeah, I just wanted to show you on this other reference point, basically the side here. Wanted to show you how it cut, and I feel like it's just as square in this direction as it is in the other direction. So just a little added thing in there. I am very impressed. It cut through that aluminum like a hot knife through butter. It cut through that piece of box tube just kind of how I expected, and then cut through this piece of bar stock pretty efficiently, and it cut it very square. So I have to say I'm impressed with this machine. I'm glad I took the other one back. It is definitely a good price, I think, for what this thing is. The Grizzly, I think, is another couple $100 more, and if you look for the 15% off coupon, I think you can get a pretty good deal for something that cuts square and efficiently, and with limited issues in burrs, and something you could just go weld to. So that has been my amateur review of this 7x12 metal cutting bandsaw from Harbor Freight. I'm going to try to do some more tool reviews and unboxings and stuff like that, so stay tuned. I'm also going to try to do some builds and some tractor pulling content, so if you like that kind of stuff, please subscribe and, you know, look out for some more videos. Thanks.